All right, guys, so sitting here working on the van, decided to take a break and upload a video where I'm not talking over road noise. Believe me, I don't like my videos when I'm talking over road noise either. Okay, so Keith Cornett puts up this this clip today, or this article today, which I already made a video about it. And basically, I put this on the Corvette blogger page, which has 97,000 people viewing it. Likes or whatever, and I said bye-bye. It makes you wonder if the people who told Mark and Mary that I'm not a threat and have no clue what I'm talking about, if their belligerent, oblivious lies about my claims and my character aren't about to get GM sued beyond its wildest dreams, and Mark finally figures this out. And then I basically tell the story again about what I told in the last video, but basically there's more to it. And I basically explain it down here. So, and Mike Furman's, he's a class act. He puts up a good post, and he's a good dude. I'm not. Harlan had plenty of good qualities, but you're about to see what the bad quality was. I explain it pretty well right here, for those of you who don't understand. This guy here says, we're all waiting with bated breath to see if any of your predictions actually come true this time. Smart ass. So what do? I explain. All my predictions have come true. DCT sump revision, because the DCT were easily starved of fluid without the 2 quarts added. So for those of you who don't understand, let's stick on that point first. General Motors for 2 years was having issues that we discovered with the cars, and by year 3 or 4, they came out with a revised DCT shape to try to compensate for the problem where the transmission was starving of fluid. On the previous transmissions, you had to add the 2 quarts when you go up and down steep hills or just drive kind of aggressively on the street. And I basically pointed this out, and everybody argued with me and told me I was wrong. I got banned from groups over this shit. Okay, so I was right about that because GM actually revised the car. DCT filters clogging too quick since they're too small. Tremec managers confirmed I was correct, as have countless C8 owners. So basically, people have cut their filters open. They see that they're clogged. The transmissions act up. The transmission filters need replaced early. LT6 engine oil raising from gasoline on the rich bank of the engine, spilling down the cylinders into the crankcase, causing catastrophic engine failure. I think you guys are aware that that happened. I actually had a few people message me today, hey, I checked my car. You're right. My oil's too high. So it's really common, guys. The DCT case needing revised in shape because it was too weak originally to work with the vibrating Z06 flat plane crank. That's true as well. Okay, I predicted that. They had to revise the case. The car's push/understeer, which is the same thing, just 2 different terminologies, in a turn because too much weight in the rear. That's a fact. Everybody knows that. The EDIF program is horrid because it must prevent the rear from coming around the car in a turn like an old school Porsche. It can't be deactivated, the EDIF program. The BS program is always on no matter what we try to shut off with the traction control and ESC. So that's one of the big ones that's wrong with the car. That's why I really don't like it. The EDIFs randomly glitch. That's another big one because the car goes from being super tight to super loose. It goes from pushing to wanting to spin in the blink of an eye when the EDIF glitches. The brakes malfunction. Okay. The brake pedal doesn't vibrate when ABS activates, so we're blind to what's going on in the car we're driving. So for instance, those of us who grew up with ABS, we know that when the pedal starts vibrating, you let off the brake a little bit. With this car, when you hit the brake and you feel like you have no brakes, you don't know it's because the ABS is activated because GM was too cheap to put a little vibration device on the pedal to replicate the ABS so that we know to let off the brake pedal until the ABS deactivates again. So all you need is a little real-time vibrating device that's in sync with the brakes, and then we'd get good feedback, but that's not important. See, this is the thing. I keep using this terminology saying that guys think like females. You know, on Harlan's proud list, he's talking about 2-tone interiors and blah, 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 blah. It's the 2-tone interior I thought up in the commemorative edition sticker card. Blah, 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 blah. The thing is, Harlan, these things here are going to get your company sued, and you failed to relay those to Mark Royce, didn't you? Okay? And that's going to be explained here in the bottom. LT6 needing another fuel pump in the tank so the car doesn't detonate at cold weather sea level. As it runs lane with only 1 pump, blown motors mean we die if it happens in high-speed turn with oil on the back tires. Okay. Safety safety issue after safety issue I've pointed out with the cars, which I'm well aware you're too dense to care about. Otherwise, you'd know exactly who I am, and that I've really never been wrong so far about any of the flaws that are present in these cars. Keep operating on the hearsay of the Corvette cult of cluelessness, since they know that not only can I have their jobs, I can humiliate them beyond their wildest dreams in a documentary soon, which results in the company being sued and recalls ordered. See, the moment that I put all this in a documentary and explain, here's my problem with Justin Horsepower Obsessed and his incompetence, here's my problem with John Elegant and his incompetence, here's my problem with Keith Cornett, his incompetence, and I run through the whole list of why these people's incompetence not only is kind of like a smokescreen of nonsense, but it also, some of these people, not all of them, but some of these people that I've named, they go out of their way to block me from communicating. They try to slander my name and they try to block me. So that's a problem. Since all of you idiots don't seem to think that any of this matters and want to mock me as the clueless one instead of fix the cars and report back to Mark Royce what the best drivers say about these cars, which Harlan failed to do apparently. And that's the big thing here, guys, which is probably why GM is now being blindsided with lawsuits and recall investigations that Harlan should have warned Roos were coming if he liked being employed. So think about this. Harlan's job is to interact with the public. Go back and tell the important things that they need to add to the cars. I know for a fact that Harlan's fighting for the 2 cameras. I know for a fact that Harlan's, likes the PDR stuff. That's good. The problem is that the absence of that stuff doesn't get us killed. This shit gets us killed, Harlan. Oh, Brandon's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Meanwhile, you're under investigation. I can actually explain to the National Highway Safety Administration why not just your Corvettes are blowing up, but why your pickup trucks are blowing up. 800,000 vehicles that you're under investigation for, and I can explain clear as day what the problem is, Harlan. See, if you would have allowed my messages to get back to Mr. Royce, Mark Royce, and communicate this stuff to Mary Bear and say, look, this is serious shit. This guy knows what he's talking about. And if people keep hearing what he's saying, we're going to end up getting sued. And we can't seem to silence him because he's smart enough to start up Facebook groups of his own. We can't just ban him from every group and blame it on him for calling us names after we call him names. That trick doesn't work anymore, does it, Harlan? So, and by the way, guys, I actually added Harlan as a friend. I had a friend request for years. He never accepted it. But I went ahead and canceled the friend request today. I should have left it up as documentation that he's had plenty of chances to communicate with me. All he had to do is accept my friend request and be like, hey, man, I realize you hate our cars. What's up? And I would have said, I really don't hate the cars. And I would have had a nice heart-to-heart with Harlan. He didn't want to communicate. So his job was to communicate with troubled customers before the lawsuits start. And ironically, I haven't sued General Motors about any of these problems. General Motors is being sued by other people. They're being investigated by other people and agencies. I just happen to know all the evidence to explain it all to those agencies. Since that was part of his job description, if I'm not mistaken, to communicate with customers with complaints and relay those messages back to the team before the customers blindside GM with safety investigations and lawsuits. See if any of that computes in that amazing brain of yours which likes to pretend I've never been right. So many of you are poison to the brand with your delusional lies. The problems are easy to engineer the fixes to. By not fixing the flaws for multiple years in a row, the class actions and recalls become massive. It ends up costing the company a fortune because you have so many cars to fix. That alone deserves Harlan and anyone else at Team Corvette, a big bon voyage if they wish to lie to Mark and say the cars are fine and Brandon and Vet Titans is crazy. There's tons of us. It's not just me, guys. There's like 800 people in the Vet Titans group. Those people didn't just join the group for the fuck of it. They're messaging me left and right now saying my oil's too high, my oil's too high. They were messaging me that their oil was too high a year ago. A lot of guys who got new Z06s since then, they don't remember all this stuff. They're now realizing, holy shit, my oil's too high. How did this happen? There's tons of us, and we're pissed and sick of being ignored and locked and mocked, that's supposed to say mocked, by Justin at Horsepower Obsessed, John Elegant, and Keith Cornett. People who don't even understand how the cars actually work and pretend they are anyone's superior. These guys genuinely think that they're above me in understanding of Corvette. They genuinely think that they're above me and that my messages don't matter and that the shit that they have to talk about in a day trumps anything that I've been talking about, when the shit that I talk about gets General Motors bankrupted if General Motors doesn't fix the problems. Instead of say, hey, General Motors, there's an anonymous engineer at Tremec who agrees with Brandon. We need to get this fixed. Hey, General Motors, I figured out who the engineer is who's working with Brandon. You could fire him now. That's the difference. That's what we're dealing with. Fact. See ya.